Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. We're taking the OG that is the newly EZA'd LRVB, free-to-play LRVB might I add, into Red Zone against a Mega Shenron. And I actually think this is the first unit I have taken into Red Zone who is a free-to-play unit. So that's kind of a milestone, right? That's got to be kind of a milestone. That kind of shows how good he is. I mean, I know he's an LR. I know he has an EZA, but that's got to show how good he is that I'm even contemplating taking him into one of the hardest pieces of content in the game for any unit, let alone a free-to-play unit. But do let me know how you're finding him down in the comments after EZAing him. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe if new. All the support is very much appreciated. And I have to say, I had a lot of fun using him. Is it ideal using him? Not completely. I'll be very honest. It's not an ideal setup for him. Like, you can scrape one in. Like, for example, this was a makeshift setup for him with LR Birdq. Great slot 1 unit. I think they share about 3 links. Not the best. And he's on the 170 team rather than, of course, the Patara 180 lead team. It's not. He doesn't really have an ideal setup. However, he doesn't have an ideal setup when you're facing non-movie boss or pure Saiyan enemies. So against Broly, he would actually have a pretty decent linking partner, or somewhat decent linking partner, with like Warrior Gods active and also a great slot 1 unit in EZA Godku. However, I don't think EZA VB would be able to cut it against Broly, especially having type disadvantage in the final phase where Broly does so much damage. So that's kind of the double-edged sword. He would have a slightly better partner if you were to use Godku, but where you would use Godku, you're not taking EZA LRVB. So that's where it's not really ideal. One of his better linking partners on a better setup team for Red Zone, for example, you know, we're running dual gods with the Year 7 SSJ4s, both Gammas, Birdq, and then VB himself. Unfortunately, one of the better linking partners for him isn't really an ideal slot 1 unit. After they get going, they're not bad in slot 1, especially if they dodge and you get them enough rainbow key spheres to do so. And that is the Year 7 gods. Don't get me wrong, they're a very good unit, but of course the best place for them is slot 2, so they can super attack and stack up. And then more importantly, once you transform them into blue, they super attack, raise their attack and defense massively, then get the additionals, then greatly raise their attack and defense like 2 more times potentially if they have dupes. So having them in slot 1 isn't ideal, and there isn't really like an ideal setup for LRVB right now for Red Zone. But it's manageable. It's manageable. You do need a little bit of RNG here and there, as I said, in terms of, you know, the gods dodging, you know, how many attacks are actually in slot 1. You know, as I said, the main thing being is if they dodge. You know, are they going to get super attacked in slot 1 before they've supered, especially when they're in blue? Because if they are, they're going to take a lot of damage, if not actually die. You know, so you don't really have an ideal setup, an ideal linking partner for Red Zone right now, where you need VB in slot 2. I mean, you could put him in slot 3, and he'll of course link up well with the gods. He can super attack first, and considering a lot of the time you're going to want to get his 18 key off, and then get that additional off to also stack in the same turn as well, because you have that 50% chance to do so. And also the potential of an additional super from the dupe system, which I have gone back and got some copies from the barbershop to give him some more additionals, so he can potentially stack twice in 1 turn while also hitting the 18 key. His best bet, which isn't bad by the way, his best bet right now, because he doesn't have a good setup to be in slot 2, he doesn't have a good slot 1 unit with him, consistently anyway, is his best bet is in slot 3, which doesn't mean he's bad, because again, he's a free-to-play unit. He's a free-to-play EZA, and he held his own. He held his own against the Mega. Type neutral the entire way, no type advantage whatsoever. No type disadvantage as well, but type neutral. His best bet would be slot 3. Because then you could have, for example, against the Mega, you could have Birdq in slot 1, great slot 1 unit. Links quite well with the LR Year 7 gods. The Year 7 gods are then linked up with LRVB. They share some solid links with him. He's got a decent setup as well. He gets a super attack before he gets hit. So do the gods. That's probably his best position right now if I was to give him an ideal setup. Which, as I said, considering he's a free-to-play EZA, and this is Red Zone, the hardest content in the game, that's not bad. that's not bad, but that's the one thing that kind of lets him down, is he doesn't have an ideal setup. And also, if you want to go really nitpicky and in-depth, of course, doesn't currently have a 200% lead, which of course he would perform much better, but he still held his own and performed really well on the 170 lead that he is on right now, which is of course power beyond a Super Saiyan. But yeah, he done really well. In terms of all that key, definitely handy, because considering his kind of link set situation with the setup I had him in, we didn't actually hit the 18 key that many times. So we weren't greatly raising his attack and defense all too often, which I thought may have been a problem. However, him for the majority just stacking, and even just once in a turn, against the Mega anyway, it gave him enough defense to be able to actually tank really well. Once he super attacks like once and stacks up once, he's up to like almost, if not 200k defense, and he's tanking Omega's basics every time he super attacks on a 12 key. He's tanking Omega's basics for double digits, which is fantastic. So if he was hitting the 18 key in the turn instead, of course he would easily be tanking for double digits, because he'd be getting more attack and defense on the 18 key. Not to mention there's also the possibility of the built-in additional, and also an additional coming from the dupe system as well, where you're greatly raise their attack and defense by 50%, and also potentially stack up as well, which is of course prepping him for later phases where he's going to have a bit more attack and defense, which means he's dealing more damage and has more defense to be able to tank, you know, in red zone, whether that be basics or potential supers. He didn't get supered, however, so I didn't get to see how much he would take there. But considering he stacked the majority, he had like, I think in the region of, in and about 300k defense, which to handle Omega's basics is good. To handle a super attack without an item, he probably would be almost dead, if not dead. If you got the 18 key off and then got the 12 keys off, you know, getting those additionals and stuff, he would probably be able to survive a super, especially with an item active, but he'll probably be able to survive a super. But as I said, considering the setup we had and the key situation, I didn't get an 18 key off too consistently with him. But the main important thing is, as a free-to-play EZA, as a free-to-play EZA LR, he held his own. He held his own. And again, considering he wasn't getting his 18 key off that consistently, so he wasn't getting that big 50% attack and defense, specifically and especially the 50% on defense off the super, he was doing really well. He was also doing some decent damage output, which was growing as well, because he was stacking for the majority. And he was hitting like over 2 milli crits, which again for a free-to-play unit is pretty decent damage output. And considering you rainbow him out for free, you know, you can probably get those crits off somewhat consistently. So again, for a free-to-play unit, considering if he is stacking, which for the majority he will do, he's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. He's doing some decent actual damage. Again, you rainbow him out for free, you're potentially hitting crits. The amount of actual raw damage he'll be doing is quite impressive for a free-to-play unit. And again, the important thing was he managed to hold his own against Omega, which I'm very impressed with. Against Broly, I don't think I'm even going to bother, because I don't think he'll be able to, again, especially while having type disadvantage against Broly's strongest hitting phase. I don't think any amount of stacking that is possible to be able to, like, you know, any amount of stacking that's possible to do with him in that red zone stage, I don't think he would have anywhere near enough defense to be able to handle Broly. But the only other thing that I could say could let him down, but isn't really an issue, because he does have the built-in additional, and also again, you can rainbow him out for free, so he can also potentially hit a second additional, and he can attack 3 times in a turn, which obviously the potential of 3 super attacks, is the fact you need to build up his passive to get him that extra attack and defense plus, what, 50%? Which, as I said, in red zone, you don't have to be worrying about that stuff too much, but considering he has a built-in dupe, even if you don't hit the dupe system additional either, you're going to have him fully built up by turn 3, which, to be, actually, no, sorry, turn 5, because that'll be when he comes back. So that's actually not too bad, and if you do get a dupe system additional, you're going to have him built up by the second time he appears, especially with the chance to get the additional from the dupe system, and also the additional from the passive as well. So even building him up isn't that much of an issue, because of the fact you can rainbow him out for free, and of course the built-in additional. But yeah, I'm impressed. He done really, really well. As I said, in terms of how far he can go, I think I'm going to try him against Cooler Core because of the type advantage. That's going to help him a lot. I don't think he'll make it against Broly though. I think that's pushing it a bit too much. But he held his own. He's still one of the best free-to-play LRs in the game, and he's a lot of fun to use. Just doesn't have an ideal slot 1 unit to have him on main rotation. but I think he would make a very good slot 3 unit nonetheless. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video, guys, and peace.